Richtofen began his tests on his new American test subject, Dempsey, alongside his other test subjects at Eagle's Nest.
Log entry 1474, date September 20th, 1945. Dial. It seems as the OSS realized that we captured one of their spies. They tried to send a rescue team into Beirut. That was all first batch of subjects. I suspect there are other moles in the organization. Dr. Harvey Ena and Dr. Peter McKay, to be precise. Dr. McKay include any Americans in Group 935, no matter how much genius they hold. Stupid Americans with their apple pies and baseball and children. But I digress. The new American test subject is interesting. Much. His intellect seems low, but his will is strong. Like others, he doesn't seem to know who he is anymore. Unlike the others, he keeps breaking for restraints and getting it. Test subject N3WB is still staring at the floor, muttering what sounds like some kind of proverb over and over again. I think his mind may have been destroyed by the prophets. Oh well. The Russian subject recently began responding to stimuli, but only after injecting him with a new serum made primarily from ammonia. Perhaps this is a breakthrough we've been waiting.
By September 20th, 1945, all the remaining test subjects, the American, Russian, and Japanese, had much of their memory removed by Richtofen, and they were given new identities so that they too would not be out of place. The American became Tank Dempsey, a Marine that believed he had fought at Peleliu and had a kid. The Russian became Nikolai Belinsky, the Soviet that believed that General Secretary Joseph Vissarionovich Stalin had sent him to the front line in World War II. The Japanese became Takeo Masaki, Bushido warrior that cared for honor above all. However, there were severe side effects from the experiments. Tank was overtly angry. Nikolai became addicted to the vodka that was used as a pain reliever in the experiment, and he believed himself to be a wife murderer. He claimed to have had 9 wives, having killed his first and second wife with shotguns, his third with a sickle, fourth with strangling in a shotgun, and fifth by drowning with an axe. Takeo believed he killed his family for their dishonor, never explaining how that could be. The scientists at Kindertoten thought the brainwashing was a huge success and hoped such technology would benefit their zombie control experiments. Portraits of Tank, Nikolai, Takeo, and Richtofen, made by the artist Wendy, were hung in Kindertoten in commemoration of the event. Meanwhile, at Durice, Maxis and the secretary Sophia started to have feelings for one another. Secretly, Maxis was worried that the element 115 was affecting his mind, that Richtofen's monkey bomb only reinforced his worry.
Log entry 1475, date October 1st, 1945. Died. As for the control group tests, they have been put on hold. Recently, I discovered that Dr. does not plan mass producing the DG2 as is for him. If he won't move those plans forward, then I will continue following his dream of an undead army. He doesn't deserve his perch of power. He knows what to do with it. And I know just what to do with him. And I'll take care of that little brat if I get the chance to.
On October 1st, 1945, the zombie control group tests were put on hold. Maxis also refused to mass-produce the Wunderwaffe DG2. After all, the Reichstag High Command was gone. Richtofen was not happy about his prized invention being cancelled.
Eagle's Nest, this is Griffin Station. We have an update. Over.
Dr. Groff, have you made any progress?
Yes, Doctor. The machine is ready. Elevating the conduit.
Very good. I will proceed with Operation Shield and join you shortly.
Security Protocol 935.
Yes. I will dispose of Dr. Maxis and that little brat personally. Do not touch anything.
When Richtofen received word from Dr. Groff that the MPG was fully powered and ready, he began Operation Shield. Around this time, he received a note from the Illuminati telling him to kill Maxis. Apparently having solved the lack of element 115, Maxis resumed the teleporter testing. Instead of testing people, which had already shown working progress, he put Fluffy in the teleporter. Maxis commenced test number 6 with Richtofen handling the calibration.
Initiating test number 6. Subject is within test chamber. Activate power. Damn it, Edward! Did you set up the device correctly?
Yes, Doctor. As per your specifications.
If you had done it to my specifications, then it would have worked, wouldn't it? As usual, your incompetence has...
What? Do you hear that, Doctor?
Quiet, you fool! Test number 6 is a failure, but the experiment has caused some kind of electrical pulse energized within the chamber. Well, open the door!
Doctor, I don't think...
Open the door! Now!
Daddy, what are you doing with Fluffy?
Damn it, Samantha! I told you never to come in here! Edward, get her out of here!
Yes, Doctor.
What's wrong with her? Daddy, what did you do? Fluffy!
Come back here! Samantha! Stop her! Easy! Come here, Samantha. Good girl, Flossie. Gently, Samantha. That's not Flossie anymore. We must get out of here. What? Edward, what are you doing? Open the door! Edward, open this door now!
I'm scared.
Don't go! Stay by me, Samantha!
Goodbye, Dr. Maxis.
Fluffy disappeared and then reappeared in a ball of electricity as the first Hellhound. Samantha came looking for Fluffy and saw what was happening. Richtofen, seizing his opportunity, locked Maxis and Samantha inside the room with Fluffy. They made a dash for the teleporter. However, since Richtofen hadn't recalibrated it, it sent them to different places. Sometime, by this time, Richtofen created the Quantum Entanglement Device, or QED, which used the theory of quantum entanglement via 115 to manifest things at random. Around this time, Dr. Porter had created another invention called the Zap Guns, which could be put together to form the Wave Gun. In one way or another, Richtofen's scientists managed to acquire the Zap Guns. Dr. Porter seemed to be well informed, knowing that there was two factions of Group 935, the one Maxis oversaw, and Richtofen's rebellious group. Instead of choosing a side, he decided to leave. In search for 115, Group 935 came across the western town that once helped Michael Faraday. The entire town had become temporally displaced underground in Angola and Africa in or before 1945. Remarkably, people still lived there, so he left for that isolated town and they let him stay. While he was there, he modified his own Purgacola called Vulturate Elixir. Also, Dr. Porter had modified the ray gun to energize 115 more in a greenish glow. He then further enhanced the entire model, building off of it, creating the second generation, the Ray Gun Mark II. Maxis was teleported to the American town underneath Africa. Fluffy was teleported into the ether, where she resided and gave birth to puppies.
Mr. Schuster, report.
The tanks are full and the shields are down. The machine is humming nicely.
Good. What of the shipment?
Most are buried outside of the base. The live ones we've sent back to Christopher Poston.
Excellent. There's nothing left but to wait for Dr. Richtofen's return.
Perhaps this is a good time to work on my low-gravity putting in the biodome.
Yes. A little leisure time would.
Intruder detected. Receiving bay. This is not a
Security, report.
This is not a drill.
Can you repeat?
She's coming right toward them.
Get her!
Get back here!
Knife! Do not let her! Damn it! Dr. Schuster, find a way to get her out of the pyramid. I will contact Edmund and let him know there has been an incident.
Samantha was teleported to Griffin Station. At Griffin Station, all of the bodies whose souls were put in the MPD were buried outside. The leftover ones, who hadn't been killed, were sent to a place called Kosovo Poston. Dr. Schuster was also working on a low-gravity putty in the biodome, adding it to the list of inventions made at Griffin Station. Pressurized external suits, gamma-ray specs, gun mule the hacker, the xenon bell, and excavators. Then the alarm sounded that there was an intruder, Samantha. In a panic, she ran towards the MPD, which was open. When she entered it, it closed. The MPD connected Samantha's soul to the ether. While her body was trapped in the MPD, she gained many powers and could peer from the other dimension. She gained all the power that the Ancient Evil once had, and she pacified the Ancient Evil while she was in control. She had the ability to alternate between her voice and the Ancient Evil's voice, and he was now completely powerless. She was now in control of the zombies.
How did she end up there? No matter. I know what must be done. In the meantime, see if you can find Dr. Maxis. Perhaps he can talk some sense into her.
Did you not deal with him already?
Yes. But if the child ended up there, then Maxis must be somewhere too. Find him.
How do you propose?
Dr. Cross, I cannot do everything for you. I leave this in your capable hands. There is much to be done.
Yes, Doctor.
Oh, and Groff?
Yes.
I'd keep an eye out for an evil-looking dog while you're at it.
Dr. Schuster and Dr. Groff radioed Richtofen and told him what happened. Richtofen instructed them to find Maxis and keep an eye out for Fluffy. For some reason, Maxis was trapped in the town and couldn't leave. Also, it does not know what interaction he and Dr. Porter had while they were there. Maxis believed that his daughter didn't survive teleportation, but he tried to get her back anyway. He began to study ethereal energy that originated from the ether. Manipulate energy fields to open a dimensional gateway to harness ethereal energy called the Paralyzer. Ethereal energy was practically limitless, and it had strange effects on portions of relative time. Maxis used this to create a time bomb that would allow the user's relative time frame to reverse, but only worked from once it was used. Maxis realized the power that could come by controlling the ether, and he feared this is what Richtofen was trying to do. So, if this were to occur, he constructed his Plan B. It was a device that, if 3 global polarization devices were constructed, would channel the energy to change who was controlling the ether's energy. For safekeeping, the Plan B was put into the back of the courthouse. Maxis also managed to use ethereal energy to bring a female, Samantha, he hoped, back from the dead. However, it brought back the wrong woman, Sarah Faraday. Sarah then came back to haunt her old mansion. Using a contraption derived from the Griffin Station computers, the MPD, and a sample of Maxis' DNA, Dr. Schuster and Dr. Groff developed a device that literally plucked Maxis from wherever he was and teleported him directly to them. Not long after, the American town underneath Africa became abandoned due to complications likely with Sarah Faraday. Maxis was angry and confused, but Dr. Groff claimed there were more important issues than petty squabbles. Dr. Groff and Dr. Schuster explained what had happened.
I hope this works. Schuster, power it up.
Systems nominal. Accessing the device. Interface via MTD active. Accessing MTD. MTD integrity check nominal. Awaiting input.
Excellent. Bring the sample.
Analyzing MTD. Creating profile. Profile created.
Excellent. Now, scan for target.
Yes, Doctor.
Target located.
Bring him here. Immediately.
Greetings, Dr. Maxis.
Schuster, I should have known. Where is that rat Edward? Where are we? And how did you get me out of that wretched... None of that is important right now. Allow me to fill you in.
Samantha, honey, Daddy is here. Come, dear, please. Open the machine. Daddy will not let them hurt you anymore. Honey, Daddy knows he's made some mistakes. I am truly sorry that you were put through so much. When your mother died, I could not
cannot bear the thought of losing you, too. That's why I kept you so close. I did not mean to neglect you. I just wanted to know you were safe from harm.
Daddy!
I love you, Samantha.
I love you too, Daddy.
Can you do something for me? Something very important.
Yes.
Kill them all. We are doomed.
So, all of the scientists at Griffin Station went to the MPD. Maxis and Samantha talked, where Maxis was trying to calm her down. Then Maxis asked Samantha if she would do something for him. She said she would. He told her to kill them all. It is unknown who shot Maxis at that point, but it made Samantha snap. When Maxis died in front of the MPD, his soul got sucked up into it. The MPD was hardwired into the Griffin Station mainframe, and Maxis was able to enter the mainframe to preserve himself. After Samantha killed most, if not all, of the people present at Griffin Station, the power went out, essentially freezing Maxis. Samantha then turned her sights on Richtofen. Richtofen was at Shino Newman when Dr. McKay arrived. Cornelius had told Dr. McKay to try to speak with either Maxis or Richtofen for help, believing that one of them may help him. After all, Dr. McKay was missing an arm and his cover hadn't been blown.
R-4808N 37 14 06 115 48 40.
I hope you're receiving this transmission, Peter. If you're not, then all is already lost. You must know by now that we failed to contain the asylum. Now we had to move the experiment here. Education. The number who guide you. The giant must remain. Cost. Repeat. Derice must safe at all costs. The DD2 experiments continue. Our only advantage now. Find Dr. Maxson. They may know what's going on. The use of 115 is dangerous at best. I'm not sure we can continue here. We've lost most of our best. I hope you get this. I hope it hasn't happened there too. But I'm almost out of hope.
60 54 06.96 101 55 44.94.
Dr. McKay went to Richtofen in a time of need, but Richtofen had discovered that Dr. McKay was an American spy, so Richtofen hanged Dr. McKay. Richtofen then left to go back to Eagle's Nest, and he decided to go check out what had happened at Verrückt and the accompanying site of Nach deren Toten. He took his 3 test subjects with him to use as an armed force. Tank, Nikolai, Takio, and Richtofen went to Nach deren Toten and fought zombies there. They then moved to Verrückt and fought zombies there. Richtofen found that Shino Numa had been overrun with zombies, so they then traveled to Japan.
We're here. This is the place. Finally. I was getting tired of Takio's rambling. Shut up, Nikolai, and get your gear.
When the zombies started attacking in Shino Numa, they used the comms to send an SOS signal. Nearby was an Allied force. However, the respondent of the SOS signal was not the Allied force, but rather the United States in the form of a recon squad of Marines. The recon squad never made direct contact with them, but they collected intel on who the 4 were. The results were their histories, but they had no idea that their histories were mere delusions. Meanwhile, Derice had by this time been overrun with zombies.
But I'm all out of hope. Auf Wiedersehen, my friend.
Warning, the shield is now active.
Damn it!
Scientists
I can't find my pills.
needed materials and report to the barracks.
They are coming.
Not drill.
I must do what I must do.
Shield is now active.
God forgive us all.
How to destroy our designated materials and report to the barracks. This is not a drill. Warning, the shield is now active. Destroy our designated materials and report to the barracks. This is not a drill. Warning, the shield is now active. Scientists are to destroy our designated materials and report to the barracks. This is not a drill. Warning, the shield is now active. To destroy our designated materials and report to the barracks.
Shortly after, the United States sent other Marines to Derice. The Marines were mostly unsuccessful at procuring anything but scanty information. One Marine provided a full list of all the weapons that were available in Darice that could be upgraded. The United States also sent follow-up Marines to the site of Nachderantoten, and they noted the presence of an eerie radio. A Soviet expedition also arrived at the site of Nachderantoten, noticing that the radio played their homeland's victory song. Meanwhile, Richthofen led Tank Nikolai and Takio in an escape from Chionua to a teleporter somewhere. They used it to teleport to Darice.
What the hell just happened? Everyone okay? Oh, I feel like I will throw up.
A mere side effect, Russia. Everything is normal.
By this time, New Year's had passed, and there they fought off zombies. They activated the fly trap, and Samantha responded by playing a game of hide and seek.
I want to play a game. Let's play hide and seek.
They found 2 teddy bears and a monkey bomb she had scattered around Darice.
Yay! You found one. Wow! You found another one.
However, the activity served no purpose. One of them threw a monkey bomb into the furnace in the furnace room, which made Samantha angry. After a long battle, someone acquired a Wunderwaffe DG-2 and fired it in the teleporter, causing it to overload and become a time-traveling teleporter. They teleported away to the future. In January 1946, the OSS was disbanded and replaced with the Central Intelligence Agency, or CIA. In July 1947, the United States also created a top-secret division called Majestic 12, which handled the Roswell incident, where an alien spacecraft crash-landed in Roswell, New Mexico, United States. The aliens were taken to Area 51 in Nevada, the most top-secret facility of the United States. There, they would be cryogenically frozen and tested upon for years. Also, there was a Group 935 survivor from Darice. He traveled to the United States and told Chase Retland, an interrogator working for the CIA, about a mirror device that allowed the viewing of images from the past. The survivor mysteriously died shortly after that. The United States sent a military force to Darice. However, the Soviet Union also sent a military force. The result was a standoff between the two groups. The Soviet Union won the standoff and gained control of the facility. Pavel Gorky was involved in the standoff, most likely the Russian side. He later went on to create the front company Gorky Korolev Medical, or GKM, that housed an improved, more deadly version of Nova 6. On August 12, 1948, American junior analyst Ryan Jackson sent a report to Chief Analyst John Abrams synthesizing the German Wunderwaffe program. On April 4, 1949, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO, an alliance of many countries such as the United States, United Kingdom, and many others, was formed. Over the next few years, the United States started leeching files from the Dayton-Betty and Stedter in Darice using a CIA asset based out of Vozdrozhdeniya, Soviet Union. These files were stored separately from the CIA's computer server. They were instead stored on the newly created Dreamland server. On July 14, 1954, Dr. Vannevar V.B. Bush, the leader of Majestic 12 and administrator of the Dreamland server, sent an email to John Fitzgerald Kennedy, Lyndon Baines Johnson, Richard McGarrett Helms, Richard Kane, Richard Milhouse Nixon, William Reborn, and T. Walker, telling them that access to the Dreamland server had been restricted to Majestic 12 members alone. Oddly, 3 of these people later became president, and 3 became directors of covert operation. By October 5, 1955, the United States had acquired control of the Baruch facility. Everything they could find was cataloged. On this day, Dr. Julius Robert Offie Oppenheimer of Majestic 12 sent an email to Dr. Bush detailing his interest in a limerick from John Banana that he found in an archive and that was found in Baruch next to an empty M1919 Browning. Dr. Bush replied on the same day, having found another limerick. Dr. Oppenheimer replied on October 24, 1955 with 2 new limericks detailing the awful events that had unfolded before John Banana's death. On October 31, 1955, Dr. Bush emailed Dr. Oppenheimer telling him that he had finished deciphering the servant files from the Dayton-Betty and Stedter and asked how Dr. Oppenheimer was proceeding with the radio transcripts. Dr. Bush and Dr. Oppenheimer worked together and kept in contact, meeting with one another in person. However, the McCarthyism movement began in the United States, where government officials would be disbarred due to affiliations with communism. Dr. Oppenheimer had relatives as well as spouses that were involved with the Communist Party of America, so he was disbarred and lost his clearance of the Dreamland server. In a last-ditch attempt to secure his files, he sent an email to Dr. Bush on January 1, 1956, with his password on it so that the information would not be lost. Over the next few years, the United States proliferated its study of element 115. However, the Soviet Union, under First Secretary Nikita Sergeyevich Khrushchev, also began study of element 115, evidenced by its capture of Doris, Shangri-La, and Eagle's Nest. The United States housed many of its experiments in the basement of the Pentagon as well as Area 51. The Soviet Union housed its tests primarily at the Baikonur Cosmodrome. Both countries reverse engineered much of the technology from Group 935. The Soviet Union created two new Perks Color, Stamina Up and PhD Flopper. The Soviet Union also created the Thunder Gun Mark II, which was fully operable, as well as the R-7 rocket series. The United States recreated the gas zombies, ray guns, monkey bombs, teleporters, and electroshock defenses. Both countries recreated the pack punch. The United States created an ice weapon with 115, the Winter's Howl. Meanwhile, at the Baikonur Cosmodrome, the Casimir mechanism was invented. Its exact purpose is unclear, but it related to the ether in some fashion. Dr. Yuri Zavoysky made a disruption that was related to an explosion of the Casimir mechanism that nearly completely destroyed it. As a result, Dr. Gersh, a high-ranking member at the Baikonur Cosmodrome and of the Ascension Group of the Soviet Union, removed Dr. Zavoysky from the 115 experiments, transferring him to the AK-64-A rocket experiments, where he would launch monkeys into space.
Convey my sincere gratitude to you for that. But on to business. I am pleased to report that all projects are running smoothly again after recent personnel changes. As I had previously mentioned, Yuri Zavoysky is a brilliant scientist, but he has so far proven incapable of handling Project Mercury, or as you call it, the Gersh device. So, due to numerous delays and setbacks, I have sadly been forced to transfer Yuri to the 8K64-A experiments. I have decided that your nephew should take his place, and look forward to working with him directly. Yuri's incident with the Casimir mechanism leaves no doubt in my mind that this is the right decision. The explosion caused the mechanism significant damage. It will take time to remanufacture all of the parts, unless some of them can be salvaged. Rockets. He transfers me to work on rockets. These experiments require no physics, no imagination. My intellect is conserved blasting a bunch of monkeys and a sphere. But I can't fight Gersh over this. I was able to hold on to my keys. Some after-hours research. No one else really understands what Project Mercury is capable of. Until then, this lab will have to do. Wait. Is there a trace though? Is someone at the time?
Dr. Zavoysky was upset, and he claimed that Project Mercury, also known as the Gersh device, was capable of much more than what the others thought. Development on the Gersh device had stalled, and meanwhile Dr. Zavoysky either found or wrote a diary that contained knowledge of element 115.
I found the box today. Some rebellion left his diary buried in it. The disgusting and filthy toy. Who can bring their child onto this space? Thank God they did not take the diary. The things I have learned about element 1. I'll have to conduct this research on my own, away from the destructive hands of Gersh. His research into Project Mercury is stalled, but will he be transferred? I doubt it. As long as Project remains on track, his friends, I must fight small. I assure you that our craft will be far superior to whatever the Americans, or should I say, Canadians, are developing. Finally, Project Thunder is nearing completion. My staff has assured me that the remaining issues of the effective range and power sensors will be solved within the next few months. Oh, and also, you should know that Dr. Zavoysky does not appear to be adjusting to his new position. He has been hostile towards the other scientists, at least more than usual, and has frequently been seen muttering to himself. The transition must have been hard for him, but if he does not learn his place soon, I may require another, more competent scientist to replace him.
Dr. Gersh also commented that the Thundergun Mark II, or as he called it, Project Thunder, was coming along well. Dr. Zavoysky dwindled to insanity, likely due to an influence of Samantha. He kept seeing teddy bears and Matryoshka dolls everywhere, and he even began to hearing voices in his head.
No, I won't. Shut up.
Samantha gave Dr. Zavoyski specifications on modifications to the GeForce device.
This had better be good, Yuri. The fact that you are getting in this lab again is reason enough to have you permanently removed. You cannot do anything that will ruin it. Do not worry. You will not be disappointed. In fact, I'm sure you won't forget it. But I can take all the credit. You will do me the honors.
When he finished, he fetched Dr. Gersh to bear witness to the invention. When Dr. Zavoyski turned it on, it created a vortex that sucked up Dr. Gersh, teleporting him to the MPD on the moon, which thus brought his soul to the ether. Samantha orchestrated this due to loneliness. Dr. Zavoyski was conscience-stricken when he realized what he did. By 1962, in Area 51, there was a ruckus at Hangar 18. The area contained many top-secret technologies, such as a repulsive shield generator and Casimir plates. It also had the 4 alien bodies. However, one turned out to still be alive, and it made a bloody escape. This would have been cause for alarm had the Soviet Spetsnaz not invaded Hangar 18 at about that time. The American Black Ops fought them off and crushed the invaders, but the alien was long gone. Also, Griffin Station was discovered by the United States. At Area 51, they built a teleporter that led to Griffin Station. They made many modifications to the area, and a large teleporter was installed to make ease for mass transit. The United States developed a new division, Call of Duty Zombie Labs, to oversee operations at Area 51 and Griffin Station in matters concerning zombies. They tested zombie behavior in low gravity, among other things, such
Sorry, zombie. I ain't nobody's meat snack. Not your sea rations. How come nothing is free anymore? Oh yeah, those meat sacks are going down. Mag's empty. Need ammo. Kill every last one of you undead flesh sacks.
In 1962, zombies overran a portion of Area 51, which was then isolated from both the general public and even the military itself to contain the zombies. This place became known as No Man's Land, and it unfortunately prevented the United States from going back to Griffin Station. Also, sometime before or after this, Soviets also managed to get a hold of Griffin Station, before being driven out shortly thereafter by the zombies, but traces of their presence remained. The United States was performing nuclear weapons testing primarily in Nevada, with its other top-secret facilities. A test site called Nuketown was built, and it was built to test the damage of a nuclear explosion on the small town. The town was filled with mannequins to simulate real people. Sometime not too long before 1963, battle was fought at Nuketown between infiltrating Spetsnaz and protecting Black Ops soldiers. The battle ended when the nuclear bomb was dropped nearby, heavily damaging Nuketown and killing all of the soldiers. In Hanford, Washington, United States, a region known by some as the Green Run, homage to a nuclear project conducted there long ago, consisted of many undercover operations. Around the time of the Nuketown incident, there were several secretive tasks being conducted by secret Soviet insurgents. A nearby farm was a cover for the housing of a missile and corrosive waste. The Soviets also acquired Perca-Cola machines, including a new Perca-Cola, Double Tap Root Beer 2. Another Perca-Cola called Tombstone Soda was also in Green Run, its manufacturer unknown. An artificially intelligent robot with a computer brain and GPS navigation was temporarily displaced by 115 from the future. The United States barely understood it, but they managed to make use of it. They hooked it up to a bus and contracted the Consolidated Coach Corporations to use it to take VIPs to secret locations around the United States, and the robot became known as the bus driver. On November 7, 1963, United States President John Fitzgerald Jack Kennedy organized a meeting between himself and Cuban Prime Minister Fidel Alejandro Castro Ruz at the Pentagon. Kennedy also invited Secretary of Defense Robert Strange McNamara for support, and Senator Richard Milhouse Nixon as a courteous gesture of sportsmanship over losing the previous election.
For time and the world do not stand still. Change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or the present are certain to miss the future. I said, are certain to miss the future.
Oh no, I missed that.
Prime Minister Castro, this missile crisis was the last straw. We almost blew ourselves up. Now, we invited you here today...
In good faith.
In good faith. To sort this thing out.
And why is he here?
Any last words, Mr. President?
Yes, Jack. Any superlative words of inspiration for our humble retreat?
Do not pray for easy lives, my friends. Pray to be stronger men.
The order of business was to rectify relations between Cuba and the United States, citing the specific example of the Cuban Missile Crisis from the previous year. They were having the meeting that day at 3 o'clock p.m. when zombies started to break into the Pentagon. They used weapons found in the Pentagon to try to survive against the zombies. One of the zombies was rather intelligent, the Pentagon Thief. He would steal weapons. It is unknown what caused his transformation to be different than the other zombies. They also, for an unknown reason, made phone calls to the Baikonur Cosmodrome. Eventually, they survived the zombie outbreak. All records and evidence of the outbreak were kept ultimately secret, and Kennedy, McNamara, Nixon, and Castro never told anyone. On November 22, 1963, Kennedy was assassinated. Despite Dr. Gersh being gone, the Ascension Group minimally improved the Thundergun Mark II into the Thundergun Mark III by improving its reloading capabilities. The only known Thundergun Mark III was sent as part of a weapon cache to Kowloon City, Hong Kong, China. February 20th, 1968, Ryan Jackson, who is now a chief analyst, wrote a report containing information about Gorky to Richard King. Sometime in late 1968 to 1969, Tank Nikolai Takio and Richtofen finally reappeared. They had teleported from 1946 at Derice to this time at Kinototen.
Where are we?
A better question
overloaded the teleporter, ripping space-time, backtracing us to the future! How wonderful!
There's my vodka! Now come on, Tex, suck it up and walk it off.
Entry 741021! Perhaps this station will hold the key to the real goals of Group 935. I still do not trust my unconventional allies, but they are of great use to me. But I digress. Who would have thought the MDT was capable of time travel? How many stations does this group have? Where did that little girl disappear to? Only time will tell what new questions await us in this theater of the damned.
Richtofen experienced a bit of delusion immediately after the teleport. Kindertoten had long been abandoned, and what exactly happened in those 20 years was unknown to most. Somehow a Thundergun Mark II ended up there. The radio that detailed the group's arrival was then temporarily displaced by 115 back to 1945. Strangely enough, the four also found a recording revolving around the Great Leap Forward movement in China.
Check it out. These villagers were portrayed in propaganda films as happy and highly motivated, although in fact, they were soon to suffer a terrible moral and physical collapse. Tens of thousands of people died as a result of industrial accidents in the hazardous condition they were made to work in. The Communist Party came up with a crude calculation that every worker will build 1 meter of canal and the project will end in 3 months. Yet it actually took more than 10 years to finish the canal. During the Great Leap Forward, factory workers' hours were doubled, and machines began to work non-stop. They were not even allowed to stop for maintenance and repairs, and so soon began to fall apart. Factories were ruined. At the same time, Mao announced another target for the Great Leap Forward. Steel production was to be doubled within 1 year. That production would come not only from heavy industry complexes, but also from small furnaces and villages.
Spreading a zombie outbreak. Many gas zombies were also rampant. Tank Nikolai Takio and Richtofen fought against the zombies until Richtofen found the pocket teleporter and used it to teleport them away to the Baikonur Cosmodrome in 1963, at the same time as the Pentagon outbreak. Tank Nikolai Takio and Richtofen found that the Baikonur Cosmodrome was completely overrun with zombies. Richtofen grabbed a spacesuit to wear. Pocket teleporter only worked once. It then became non-functioning. They fought against the zombies at the same time as the politicians at the Pentagon, although here in Russia it was midnight. Samantha was torturing Dr. Gersh in ether for her own amusement. He begged the four to help him.
Please, help me. She's scalding. The mechanism must be repaired.
Meanwhile, the AK-64-A rocket modules that launched long ago occasionally rained down at the Baikonur Cosmodrome, and the Element 115 reanimated the space monkeys within them. They had an unusual connection to the Persicola, and unlike normal chimpanzees, they had tails. The Gersh device was a fully functioning weapon that created black holes for zombie killing and for teleportation. Samantha even created a weapon of her own, the explosive Matryoshka dolls. The four launched the R-7 rocket present at the Baikonur Cosmodrome, and then they started fixing the Casimir mechanism. They first put the generator back in its place.
You've done it. Now, it needs as much power as possible. Hurry, she's getting nearer.
They then connected the computer network to the Casimir mechanism, activating Node 1.
3 more! No! Stop it!
They then connected the power from the Persicola machines to the Casimir mechanism, activating Node 2.
There needs to be more concentrated power for this to work!
They then connected the power output from the R-7 rocket launch pad, activating Node 3.
Yes! Yes! Almost there! Hurry! She's coming! Load up!
They then sequestered the power from the layer-shaped power-ups from ether made by Dr. Gersh.
The Casimir mechanism is active! Quickly! Opening portal!
They then gave the Casimir mechanism more power by blasting it with wonder weapons such as the Thundergun Mark II and Gersh devices. All these things fully charged the Casimir mechanism. When it was fully charged, it freed Dr. Gersh from Samantha's confinement.
Ah, yes! I'm free! I cannot thank you enough for releasing me from that horrible place.
It is unknown what happened to Dr. Gersh. Meanwhile, Tank started to realize that his memory was lacking. Takeo, however, had by this point remembered everything that Richtofen had done to him, and he vowed to get vengeance on Richtofen. Richtofen also developed a crush on Nikolai. It also became clear that Richtofen had a secret plan.
Richtofen. I don't like him. I think I've seen him before Shinonuma, but can't quite remember. In fact, can't remember much at all from before.
Richtofen. I don't know why he likes me so much. Maybe he's trying for a free drink. I don't give free drinks.
I think Dempsey is like a goose. He wake up in new world every day. I don't think he remembers anything from before. Nikolai's presence brings me dishonor. He tries to drown the past. It will consume him one day. I do not think he remembers anything. Richtofen. His evil is great, but not as great as what we fight today. One day, when the time is right, I will make him pay for what he has done!
Eventually, Richtofen used the Gersh device as a portable teleporter to teleport them all to Neagle's Nest. Later, Brock and his assistant Gary, two explorers in the Himalayas, discovered Shangri-La in their search to find Agartha.
The heat and humidity is just excruciating. According to the locals, the temple should be in this mountain range just up this river. Gary, do you hear that? A waterfall. We must be close. Hand me the binoculars. There is a structure up ahead. If this is truly a gateway to Agartha, my work will finally be validated.
Brock, I don't think this place is abandoned.
Don't be silly. This place has to be thousands of years old. I have found some unfinished carvings around the structures I can't make out. They do not look like... Wait, what is this?
What the hell was that? Why is the sky dark?
It's an eclipse. We must have...
Run! What are those things?
Zombies. We have to find another way.
Zombies? What are you talking about?
The writings must have been right. No! Don't touch that! Damn! Take a look around and try to find a way out.
I got nothing.
We will have to conserve our supplies. Take your shoes off and hand me your socks. I have been trapped in the temple structure for days. Gary is dead, and I don't see a way out of here. I can still hear the zombies outside. I fear this is my last recording, as the battery is about to die. And I will soon follow. One thing I can be certain of is that glove...
They pressed a button which teleported them back in time, where there was a solar eclipse. In their attempt to escape the zombies that had overrun Shangri-La, they got trapped in an inescapable room of the temple, where they stayed until they starved to death. Only in 1990 did the United States reveal the heart publicly. Then in December 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed. Tank, Nikolai, Takeo, and Richtofen arrived at Eagle's Nest. However, it was a bit later than Richtofen had hoped. They were in March 2011. They were not alone. George Andrew Romero was a famous writer and director of zombie-related scripts and films. He found some Nazi documents detailing zombies in Element 115, so naturally he wanted to produce a movie about it. He decided to shoot the film at the Siberian outpost, and he recruited 4 actors for the film. Sarah Michelle Gellar was famous for her role in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Robert Barton Englund was famous for his role in Nightmare on Elm Street. Danny Trejo was famous for his role in Machete. Michael Rooker was famous for his role in The Walking Dead.
Years ago, I did research for a World War II movie. I came across some old Nazi documents. I couldn't believe what I was reading. Element 115, necromancers, raising the dead, real creepy stuff.
coolest thing? Some of that crazy shit happened right here.
They were filming the movie Call of the Dead when a zombie attacked George and they both fell into the frigid water along with a stage light.
I've always liked the monster within it. I like the zombies being us. It's like zombies are the blue-collar monsters.
We're completely surrounded! We're completely fucked! Are you girls kidding me? I've been praying for this shit! Come on!
Boys, let's get to work.
For God's sakes, he missed me again! Oh, cut! Are you blind, man? Like this. Ow! Oh. See?
No, Jefe, I do it like this.
Daddy!
I do it like this.
Get back to hair and makeup. You don't look dead enough.
Come on, let's go.
That ain't in the script. We're writing a new one. It's called Maggot Shack Massacre. This is a real nightmare.
Let's slay some stiffs.
The dogs will fear the honorable.
These started reanimating all over the Siberian outpost. Sarah, Robert, Danny, and Michael grabbed some weapons and began fighting against the zombies. George turned into a zombie as well. However, he was more powerful than any other zombie. It is unknown what caused this. Perhaps it was the stage lights, electricity, or some grill influence. The actors came upon a small locked metal room with some strange people talking from inside it. The strange people were Tank, Nikolai, Takio, and Richtofen.
Ah! I'm blind! I'm blind! In my eyes! Holy shitballs! Me too. What did you do, Richtofen?
I did nothing. There's a light switch. Oh, I think I found a lever. Perhaps this will turn on the light.
No! Ah! Let go! That's not a lever! Richtofen!
Shh! Did you hear that?
Oh, sounded like someone outside. Hey, you! Hey! I need vodka!
Hello? Can you help us? There must be a blown fuse or something. It's dark in here.
Oh, man. That's wet.
Takio is sick to his stomach from all the teleporting. Richtofen asked the actors to find an extra fuse to turn the lights on in the room. They found one, put it in the wall, turning on the lights.
Ah, much better. Now I can see the problem. We must have gone too far into the future. Look, the teleporter's completely broken. The time circuits are damaged. We'll have to revolt them.
Wait! You took us here on purpose? Where are we?
A better question, Dempsey.
Oh, look at this blinky light! What's this button do?
No! Ah, great, Nikolai. You've just activated the MTD security system.
Good.
Excuse me. You're outside. Yeah. The handsome one. We need you to locate the power sources of the security system. They look like little half domes with a hole on top. Kind of like a big... Forget it. If you destroy those, it should shut down the security system.
Nikolai saw a blinking button and pressed it, which turned on the MTD security system. The actors destroyed the power sources of the MTD security system.
Okay, that did the trick.
Ah, yes. Takeo, can you hand me that screwdriver?
Okay, you...
Is that all he's going to do this trip?
Oh, I have such a headache. I need vodka.
Now ain't the time for drinking, Nikolai.
I heartily disagree. Now is perfect time for drinking.
Yeah, vodka. That might give me the distraction I
I mean, good idea.
See, Tank? He's always good time for drinking, eh?
There couldn't possibly be anything left to drink anywhere. Could there?
Nikolai asked for some vodka, and Richtofen urged the actors to find some vodka.
Hi, Takeo. Yeah, how you doing? See all the puke that we're picking up? You're not saying thank you? Nothing? You know why? Because you're a little shit.
So they found some vodka and they sent it through the tube into the room. Richtofen gave it to Tank and Nikolai, who became drunk. Takeo was already incapacitated.
Oh, hello. Thank you so much.
Come on, rectal fan. It's singing time.
I feel like dancing with third wife, but she's doing the troika with Dave.
Wait, isn't it troika that dance that needs 3 people?
Yeah, but third wife, big woman. She could do both parts.
Ew.
I lie in bed, I just roll toward her, you know. Takeo, let's dance, you barfing fool.
So now that they're occupied, I was wondering, could you do a special errand for me? I need you to retrieve a very important device. It looks like a long, stiff, hard golden rod. With fingers on the end. Oh, delightful. But it will take an art trick to find the right path.
Richtofen then requested that they find the drill generator. The drill generator had been left at Eagle's Nest before Samantha snapped. The actors searched. They found little slips of color-coded paper with numbers on them, as well as corresponding dials within the lighthouse at the Siberian outpost. They changed the dials to match the numbers, and then they connected 4 Morse code radios that sent a signal relay to a light in the sky, likely the Vriliot pyramid in orbit around the Earth. The actors then pressed some switches on the bridge of the crashed ship on the coast, and the switches activated an unmanned submarine nearby that rose out of the ocean. The submarine emitted a series of foghorn trumpet blasts. In return, the actor used some land-based foghorns reciprocally. The submarine shone a green stream of light that hit the light in the lighthouse, refracting to the base of the bottom of the lighthouse. The actors did all of this while surviving against the zombies and George. Meanwhile, Richtofen changed out of the spacesuit.
The real generator will be mine! Then there is only one more thing I need!
One of the actors found the VR-11, which seemed to have been commandeered by the United States, that it had its logo on it, and could be used to turn zombies back into humans because of its Vril energy. The humans would panic and run for their lives, merely to be killed. Curiously, a human ran to the green light at the base of the lighthouse. Before he made it to the top, the actors killed him, which may seem morbid and cruel, but the former zombies had a little more sense than when they were zombies, just from sheer fright. It is unknown why or how, but the human was vaporized when it reached the top of the lighthouse. From its non-existent corpse dropped the Vril generator, which was apparently immune to the vaporization. The actors returned the Vril generator to Richtofen via the tube connected to the small metal room. By this time, Richtofen had fixed the teleporter in the room.
Kinda sick that I have to ask this, but Richtofen, is that a rod in your pocket?
9. Let's go. I've got us what we needed.
Yeah! Drunk!
Thank you so much for your help out there. Bye-bye!
Hey, what happened?
Should I get out and push?
The fuse box must have shorted out again.
Oh, come on! This better be more rewarding than last time. Stupid Gersh.
What the?
However, when they used it, the fuse shorted out again, so the actors hit the fuse, which jump-started the teleporter.
Thank you again, stranger. Perhaps we will see you another time. Goodbye.
Yo, sauerkraut. You never did tell us why we came. Wherever this is.
All in good time, my clever Dempsey. All in good time. Oh, that's what you get for eating raw fish.
Richtofen said goodbye to Sarah, Robert, Danny, and Michael before teleporting away to Shangri-La. Tank, Nikolai, Takeo, and Richtofen arrived at Shangri-La sometime between 1990 and 2011.
Finally, we're out of that damn closet.
Yeah, but it was nice break, no?
Not for me. That was a horrible experience.
You just need to bite down on something.
Takeo, you are a really, really bad dancer. Second wife dances better than you, and she's dead! I miss her.